Um, all right, if you want to start the recording, today is Wednesday, May 3rd. It is just after 1 p.m. and we are gathered here today for the regular meeting of the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. Ken, if you wouldn't mind taking the roll, or one of your staff take the roll.
It'd be my pleasure. Commissioner Auxier? I don't think he's trickled in yet. Commissioner Beach?
Present.
Commissioner Freeman?
I'm here today.
Commissioner Solomon?
Here.
Senator Przanski? Representative Lewis? And Vice Chair Bovet?
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum to do business. I'll keep an eye out just on the side for Commissioner Auxier and let you know if he pops in.
Sounds perfect. All right, as we always start, let's open up any public comment. Is there any member of the public here joining us today that would like to speak with the commission about any item that's not on the agenda? If so, if you'd raise your hand or announce yourself, and we'll take a couple of minutes of testimony from you if there is anyone. And not seeing any. Let us proceed on to our first agenda item, which is restorative justice grant amendment approvals. It looks like Casey's going to take that on.
I sure am. Let me get my screen started here. All right. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Bovet and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Casey Beck, and I am a grant program coordinator here at the CJC. For your review today, we have a restorative justice grant program amendment request. But first, I wanted to give a quick refresher on the amendment request review and approval process. So approval from this commission is needed when the amendment request exceeds 10% of a program's total grant award, or when the amendment request makes substantive changes to a program. Otherwise, request to reallocate any portion of grant funds that is 10% or less of the total grant amount may be administratively approved by CJC staff. The amount requested to be reallocated today is 14.1% of the program's total award, and therefore exceeds that 10% threshold for administrative processing and must go to the commission for approval. So today, our amendment request is from the Resolve Center for Dispute Resolution and Restorative Justice. Resolve is requesting to reallocate a portion of their approved restorative justice funding from two different spending categories: contractual services and personnel. The total amount that they're requesting to move is $17,487, and it's to fund their newly hired program coordinator, which is replacing a program coordinator that they unfortunately lost last year. So it's a existing position, but it's a new position at the same time. These funds are coming from a total of $13,716 from those contractual services, with $12,000 of which are funds designated for consultation, and around $1,700 of funds designated for technical support. The other $3,771 is coming from their personnel category, and it is actually just unexpended salary from the restorative justice specialist position in Q3 from last year. So Resolve has, like many other programs, had a couple of hiring and retention issues that they have fought so hard to get these positions refilled, and they put out a super strong campaign recently and brought a program coordinator on board that they're very excited about. And for all those reasons, staff recommend approving this amendment request for Resolve's restorative justice program. Are there any questions before I toss it back over to you all for discussion today?
Great, Casey. Thank you so much. Are there any questions from commissioners about this requested grant adjustment? And if not, would someone be willing to make a motion?
I move that we approve the amendment as drafted.
We have a motion from Commissioner Solomon to approve the proposed amendment to the Resolve Center for Dispute Resolution and Restorative Justice Grant. Is there a second?
Commissioner, this is Jessica. I second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Beach. Is there any further discussion among commissioners? Not seeing any. If Ken or staff could take the roll.
My pleasure. Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Bovet, Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Bovet.
Yes.
that
Motion
passes.
passes.
Yep.
Motion passes. All right, thank you so much, Casey. We will move on to the next agenda item, which is a variety of specialty court grant amendment approvals, and it looks like Rachel's going to be leading the discussion on this one.
Yes, good afternoon, Vice Chair Bovet and Commissioners. I am Rachel MacArthur and a policy analyst here at CJC. And if one of y'all could let me know when you see this presentation, that would be great. Okay. Vice Chair Bovet, am having bandwidth issues today. So if by chance I freeze or something happens, can you let me know and I'll turn off my camera or something like that. Thank you very much. Okay, so today I'm going to be presenting to you 9 amendment requests for the Specialty Court Awards grantees. At the end of Q7, were given the opportunity to assess their spending to date and request additional funds to supplement their current awards, or had the opportunity to reallocate funds as needed. And so 2 amendments that were submitted are requesting additional funds. 2 grantees requested to reallocate funds from existing budget categories to a new program area that was not currently supported by the grant. And then additionally, 5 grantees submitted amendment requests to reallocate funds from an existing budget category to technology. And so due to the similar nature of those particular requests, those 5 amendments will be presented together. So first one is Lane County Mental Health. They are asking for $21,000 in additional funds. Part of that will go to an ADA position. This was initially requested in the first round of funding, but it was actually cut due to funding priorities and limitations. And so they're asking for additional funds to support the ADA through the rest of the biennium. They're also asking for additional treatment funds that will expand the comprehensive treatment options that are currently available to participants throughout the end of the biennium. Very similar to the mental health court, the Veterans Treatment Court for Lane County is also asking for additional funds, $14,000 to support the ADA position. Same position, it was spread over 3 courts, and this one was also cut due to funding priorities. And so they're asking for those additional funds to help support the ADA through the remainder of the biennium. Tillamook County, they're asking to reallocate $12,500 in contractual services. So it's going to stay within the same category, but what they recognized was there is less than anticipated spending in that particular category. And so they're asking to contract with Portland State University and a new program component with their National Policy Center and Oregon Solutions Program, and they'll support an assessment of local criminal justice systems with a focus on identifying gaps in cultural responsiveness and equity. So this is an effort to spend down within that category. And then Yamhill County Juvenile Drug Court, they are asking to reallocate a little under $1,900 and other participant supports. There was a lower than estimated spending for a software program called Reconnect. And so they're asking to move that over to personnel to support the court coordinator so that they would be fully funded throughout the rest of the biennium. This also is new because it wasn't originally in their ask. So. And then lastly, we have the 5 grantees that had unexpected cost savings in particular areas and particular categories, and are requesting to reallocate these funds towards technology purchases that were not included in their initial grant award. And so Clatsop County Adult Drug Court, they want laptops, tablets, and phones. They're for participant use to help increase participants' access to treatment services and auxiliary supports. Marion County Mental Health and Veterans Treatment Court, the laptops, monitors, and the printer would support the court coordinator. Polk County is asking for a 3D printer that will be used to create tokens and other participant incentives. And Wallowa County is asking for a laptop to be used by the new court coordinator so that she is able to attend meetings and trainings. One thing to note, these funds are not taking away from any other services within these categories. It's just a kind of an unexpected lack of spending in these categories. So they're not taking from anything else. It's just an unexpected savings within those categories. And that is all I have.
And I assume the staff recommendation is to approve these requests?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. Are there any questions of staff from the commissioners? That's going to be a short meeting today. Not
Sorry.
seeing any. Oh, Commissioner Beach, go ahead.
Forgive me, I was on mute. Just to confirm, if I could, with the CJC for this particular round, meaning the 2021-23 biennium for specialty court grants. I'm trying to remember, these can only be allocated till June 30 of this year. Is that correct?
Vice Chair Bovet, Commissioner Beach, yes, that is correct. The project period ends at the end of this biennium. That project period change will be in the next application round.
Great, thank you. I'm glad they were able to get them in under the wire. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments from commissioners? Go ahead, Commissioner Solomon.
Can we break out the Lane County portion?
Yes, makes perfect sense. If somebody be willing to make a motion related to Tillamook, Yamhill, and the technology purchasing, and then we can have a second motion for the Lane County ones. Go ahead, Commissioner Beach.
Forgive me, if we could also separate the Yamhill County Juvenile Drug Court. It doesn't affect my budget directly, but just for the record, thank you.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do 3 motions? One to take care of the 2 Lane County ones, one to take care of Yamhill, and then the final motion will be the remainder. If somebody be willing to make a motion related to the Lane County ones at this point, that would be great, other than Commissioner Solomon, of course.
Chair Bovet, I'd be happy to do so. I go ahead and make a motion to approve the specialty court grant amendment approvals for the Lane County Mental Health Court and the Lane County Veterans Treatment Court.
Great. We have a motion from Commissioner Beach to approve the 2 Lane County proposed grant amendments for the specialty court program. Is there a second to that motion?
This is Freeman. I'll second that.
It's seconded by Commissioner Freeman. Is there any further discussion? If not, if you could take the roll, Ken.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
I'll abstain and declare potential conflict of interest, even though this doesn't affect my budget and I believe there's no pecuniary interest. I do want to, for the record, abstain.
And Vice Chair Bovet.
Yes,
So that's 3 yeses, 1 abstention.
that motion passes. And if we could have a motion related, let's just do Yamhill, because that's the next potential conflict we have. If somebody could make that motion, that'd be great.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Solomon to approve the specialty court grant amendment application from Yamhill County. Is there a second to that motion?
This is Freeman. I'll second that.
That's been seconded by Commissioner Freeman. Is there any further discussion about the Yamhill County Juvenile Drug Court proposed grant amendment? Not seeing any. If you take the roll on this one, Ken?
Certainly. Commissioner Beach,
I would like to abstain, please. Thank you.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Aye.
and Vice Chair Bovet.
Yes.
And once
That
again,
mo-
three yeses and 1 abstention.
Great, that motion passes. And we have potentially one more motion, if somebody can make a motion to approve the Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court and the 5 technology purchasing grant amendment applications.
So moved. Would you like me to repeat that, Chair?
No, that's okay. I think we're good. As we have a motion from Commissioner Beach to approve the remaining agenda items here, which is the Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court and the 5 technology purchasing grants. Is there a second to the motion to approve these grant amendments?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Solomon. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. Ken, would you take the roll again?
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Bovet.
Yes. So that's 4 yeses and that motion passes. I think that completes our specialty court grant amendment approvals. So thank you, Rachel, for walking us through those. And I think we are now on to the last agenda item we have this afternoon, which is agency updates. So I'll turn it over to you, Ken.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The primary update I have today is just a brief legislative update, but before I begin, I want to apologize. My dog is in the office here, and apparently the mailman, Amazon man, and my neighbor with his dog are all out at the same time. So if you hear any whining, that's not me. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of bills relevant to CJC. As I've said before, don't need to write anything down. I'll send out an email follow-up shortly after. For the most part, almost all of the bills that we're tracking right now, at least all of the ones that have a true agency impact, are in Ways and Means. And so for reference, that would be HB 2320, which would establish a juvenile justice commission within the CJC. HB 2731, which continues funding for the Family Preservation Project, a subcontractor we've been working with. Our bill that we're paying the most attention to, which is 344 amended, which is our JRI extension bill that would extend us through 2033. And let me see, there was 2 more. 766A, SB 766A, which would include additional IMM-EGP funding to the commission for the next biennium, and SB 900, which would create a new CJC grant to address organized retail theft across the state. We're tracking those, we're watching those. The great logjam at Ways and Means should not be broken down until after the next revenue forecast. And so we'll have to wait on most of those. We do hope, we've seen a smattering of bills, funding bills for state agencies begin to be scheduled in full Ways and Means. And so we do hope that those begin to move soon, though, and that might be good news for 344. I think our notion is that would move with our base budget. So that's what we're hopeful on. The one other bill that I really wanted to draw attention to is actually new. It is SB 1093. And this is a companion bill to go with the policy-based efforts behind the public defense crisis reforms that are being discussed. And while the other bill that does the policy work is still, I believe it's in rules at the moment, that's still being negotiated. This is a bill that has been originated within the Public Safety Subcommittee. There's actually a public hearing on it later this afternoon, so we don't have too much information on it yet, but we'll be tuning in for that one. The primary thing that happens with this bill is that it would direct all the presiding judges in the judicial districts across the state to create a plan for addressing the local unrepresented crisis within their jurisdiction. Depending on the size of the county, that plan may have to be more or less involved as far as who is consulted on that. But the relevance of these plans to us is that once those plans are completed in September, they would all be submitted to the Criminal Justice Commission. The Criminal Justice Commission would then have a month to review and analyze those plans and create a report that would be sent back to the Joint Committee on Ways and Means on October 1st. And so that is something that would be a relatively big lift. It's not something that would be easy for us to ask for more resource on, however, because it's such a quick turnaround. So we're talking internally how we would implement that, because we certainly want to be of as much assistance as possible during this crisis. But that's a new one that's popped up within the past few weeks. I'd be happy to entertain any questions on any of the bills I mentioned or any other legislative issues that you all may have identified.
Great, thanks, Ken. Any questions of Ken or staff about any of that which he covered or anything else going on in our Capitol building? Not seeing any. There's a lot of stuff going on in our Capitol building.
There's
but
a lot.
I think everybody's tracking it pretty closely. All right. Well, thank you so much. Unless there's anything further, Ken, from you or your staff, I think we are done today.
No, I think that's all that we have. We do plan in the next couple meetings to continue to bring, since we have new folks on the commission, to continue to talk about what that process is going to look like post-session as we go into our next granting period. But other than that, no, nothing more today. It's a nice quick meeting.
Great. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, and we are adjourned at 1:24 p.m.
Thank you all.
Good to see y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.